we're criticizing for the offense.
Yeah.
He obviously doesn't call the defensive
Yeah.
sets. But let's
he
just
hires
talk
the
about the
defensive
defense for a
coordinator.
second.
Joe Woods has been terrible.
So the
why
defense
you
has
keep him?
allowed 95 points. 50 of them came in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, terrible.
But not only is that terrible, but you know why? Because Kevin Stefanski is making that easy with 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and outs in the fourth quarter.
Do we have
Control the damn ball in the
No
fourth
Myles
quarter.
Garrett, no Jadeveon Clowney. What did you think was going to happen?
I thought they'd win.
Of course
I thought they'd win.
Against the Falcons?
I thought they'd win. You thought they'd win.
I thought they'd win.
I picked the Falcons.
Oh, he picked the Falcons.
Yes. You're the
I
only
thought
one.
they would
Jason
win, but I
and
thought it
Polk
would be
picked the
close.
Falcons for the
the
record.
Browns
They
were only
did.
a 1-point favorite.
Mike Polk also picked the Falcons.
Wow.
So let me just give you this.
Yeah.
You don't have Jadeveon Clowney. You don't have Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
They was doing the same thing when both of them was playing. You still had busted coverage. You still had Chad Henne running down
Well,
the field
busted
last year.
coverage of the secondary isn't on
Well,
Myles
so-
Garrett and Jadeveon
well,
Clowney.
well, I can't absolve Joe Woods for having this terrible performance.
Nobody's arguing with you on Joe
No,
Woods.
Tyvis, by the way, sat
Yeah.
in one of those chairs
Horrible.
and said, this will 1,000% be cleaned up because it's just communication.
And they didn't have as awful of a busted coverage yesterday.
Denzel Ward, actually, I thought played well.
No, the 43-yard busted coverage cost him the football game, in my view.
Yes.
But it wasn't. I'm just going back to what we saw in the Jets and what we saw in Carolina.
Okay,
and
so it was
wasn't-
1 instead of 2
it
and
wasn't
3.
quite that.
I mean,
and
45 yards is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, the Titans only completed 7 passes.
That's crazy.
Well, can we get
This is crazy.
to this?
It is.
There's a whole.
They're underperforming.
Obviously, you without Clowney and you without Garrett, right? So that's 2 major demotions down, right? We have that. But I've been saying
And
this.
Taven Bryant. They're missing 3
I've
linemen.
been saying this for weeks now. The interior D line
Sucks.
is
and we
awful.
knew it would suck coming
It's
into
awful.
the season, something they didn't
Yeah,
address.
they tried to hide it,
So
but you
when,
can't.
so
That's
when,
on the GM.
So when will we address this?
That's on the GM. You
Because
can't address it
you had-
now.
Bull,
Well,
you had
Dominican Sue's out there.
Bull, you
Yeah.
had a dude.
I
come
actually
up to-
think Jordan
You had a
Elliott's been
dude
pretty
come up
good.
to practice.
Jordan
He played
Elliott's
great yesterday. You know what? You're right.
Jordan-
Yesterday, I thought he played really well.
Hold on, look here.
So if you have Jordan Elliott and 2 bookends, you're not so bad.
You
But
had
it
a
looks
dude,
worse when
you
you're
had a
missing your
dude
ends.
come off
Absolutely.
the practice squad
Wow.
and run you in the ground.
Yeah.
Wow.
And run you in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't happen. It just can't. It
Yeah,
can't happen.
that was
and
cool.
I think
It was
I think we all can agree whether or not you want Stefanski to give up the play calling or not, and that could be extreme. And I'm not just judging it all off. I've just seen this too many times. I've seen the movie too often. And in the moment, when you know how the game ends and it's and you're still in the lead and it's not good, that's not good.
Jay, there's a difference. There's a difference between experience and reflection. You can have experience all you want. You can say, I've been here 20 years, but you've been reliving the same year 20 times. In the reality of the situation, you don't get anything unless you have reflection. And you need to reflect on, wow, I did this last year. What did I learn from that? If I get in that position again, while I do the same thing. With reflection comes self-awareness.
He doesn't seem to quite get it.
You can be self-aware now and say, man, I do get the tendency that when I'm in the crunch time, I forget what I got and what the bread and butter should be. And without reflection and reflecting on what it is, he's going to continue to get up there and say, well, that's on me. Saying it's on you is not good enough. I need you to reflect and fix. And we're not seeing reflect and fix.
The reality is that there were a lot of games last year that they did run the ball down the stretch when it mattered and finished off some games. And the year before, they did the same thing. They didn't lose the Jet game because they didn't run the ball enough. This is the only game this year that you can say they lost. What do you mean?
No.
They lost the Jet game because of a special teams failure and the defense fell apart.
You
That
talk
had
about
nothing to do with
you talk about the
Stefanski.
Jets. The Jets game, yes,
Yeah.
they got that. But
Yeah.
let me give you this. How many times do I got to see in the fourth quarter Nick Chubb sit on the sideline?
But he's not always sitting on the
Really?
sideline.
I remember.
No, he's not.
I remember.
Chubb has
How many
huge
carries?
fourth quarter
Green Bay,
numbers.
Green Bay last year. Green Bay
I don't
last
know
year.
last night.
Green Bay last year.
I'm sure
he
you
sit on
need
the
more.
sideline.
I'm sure you can make the argument.
Of course, there are examples of that, and I agree with you when that happens. That's wrong. But let's not make it seem like it happens every game. The guy's got huge fourth quarter numbers in his career.
Well, let me ask you this: when they was on the goal line,
Yeah.
and they threw the ball 3 times on 2nd and 1 on the goal line,
Yeah.
How many in the fourth? Do we know?
you give it to Nick
I'll
Chubb
double check, but I think it was
3
3. I'll double check.
more times.
I agree with that. I agree with
Agree.
that. But also, like they had the
I'm
holding
just
call.
saying we can't say that he does this every time.
He
We
has
can't
7
put everyone
carries.
on that.
How many carries? Can we put that
No, he
back
had
up?
7. We think 3 in the fourth quarter.
7.
7 carries.
But
He's your horse. He's your thoroughbred.
So I
He's
could-
your best player,
let me-
and it's not even
7.
close.
12 and 7 is
And the game
unacceptable.
is in the
Agreed,
balance.
but we're not arguing
let
that.
me- let me,
he
I'm
screwed
gonna-
up in this game.
I'm going to say it
with
again.
that, no doubt.
I'm going to say it again. you know, and I'm not gonna shove it all on Stefanski, right? To me, he's just a guy.
there's a lot to go around.
He's just not a guy that seems to learn consistently from the mistakes. But I will tell you this, and this is my own world, right? Everybody's not meant to be the CEO. They're not. Some people are meant to be in the second chair, right? And they're real good at it. But when they go
Did you ever experience that in the NBA? Did you guys that were great bench coaches but just couldn't make the
could
transition?
not get it because they weren't cut for that. But you put them in that second chair. Now, I'm not saying Stefanski's not a brilliant offensive mind if things are good, but at the end of the game, this is what I see, Jason. It's a lot going on, and he can't capture all of this going on.
Brad, do you agree with this? I think you're right. I think he's just got a lot on his plate.
He's stretched.
I think he is head coach material. I really do. And I also think he'd make a great offensive coordinator.
Yes.
He's proven that. But I don't think he's cut out to do both.
The problem
and
is,
I'd rather him stay on as our head coach.
The problem is as the CEO. The problem as the CEO.
It's not one game.
He has
It
to
is one
be
game.
able to
What other
recognize-
game did they lose because of him being doing both?
They
this
have
year?
a 500 record.
So let
during
me
his
say.
time.
Let me say this.
No, they don't. They're 2016.
Let me say this. He has to
2017.
be able to realize that he's being stretched.
Right.
Right? Because
Brett, every coach does it. Every coach
I don't want to hear about
calling
every. I don't want to hear about
Nah.
everybody.
Every
does.
young
I don't
coach
want.
is
I don't want to hear. I don't buy. I don't buy into that.
That's a fact.
I don't buy
Every
into
young
that.
coach
I
is
don't
calling
buy
plays.
into that. I don't buy into that.
Here's the
I don't
thing.
buy into that.
I'm not going to go on all or nothing. It's people. You got to take what's on the ground level. I'm not using that rule to say I'm going to put you here. Well, we always do it.
Jay,
no.
hold on.
That's not
Jay,
it.
So you're saying they would have won
my day
yesterday's
job,
game if
right?
he wasn't calling
You know
plays?
my day job, right?
And I know
I got a number of departments.
You always delegate.
I can go with every department and run the freaking department.
I know.
But I can't run the whole show. I got to trust that the
So
people
we're just going to
underneath
ignore
me
that
can
most
do
of
it.
the head coaches
No,
in the league
his
are
job.
calling
His
plays.
job. The head
We're going to
coach.
ignore that.
The head
Nobody's
coach's
refusing.
job is
Is
to
anybody
make
going to
sure
answer
that
that?
everybody.
I don't know.
That everybody is in a position
I really
to be
don't.
successful.
I really don't care what the other teams is doing.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I don't either.
I do.
I know.
That's what teams do. That's part of
No,
being
no,
a
no.
coach.
Is,
in the NFL.
are 31 other cities obsessed with play calling, or is
I
it just
mean,
Cleveland?
come on.
I
No,
am
there are-
so sick
There
of
are
the
a
play
lot of
calling
other, there are a lot of
conversation.
other teams that are
Oh
considered
my
play calling.
God! Every single year, it's play calling, play calling. Who should call the plays?
Oh,
should
every
head coach
fan
call
base
the
is obsessed with
So
it.
wait,
It drives me.
Okay, so
Well,
let me progress
Yeah.
the conversation. In Jason's mind and in your mind, it's not the play calling.
No,
Is it the
guys are
players?
open all over the field.
Is
He's
it
one
the
of the
players?
best guys at scheming guys open.
Is it
Let me
well,
tell
Amari Cooper wasn't open.
He's had Baker
has
Mayfield
overcome bad
and Jacoby
quarterback play.
Brissett
Let me tell
as
you
his
something.
quarterbacks. Come
Let
back
me
to
tell-
me
let me
when
tell you
Deshaun
something.
Watson's
If you-
back there,
I think
it's
and
a-
then let's have
I
this
think it's a fair
conversation.
I can't wait to
criticism
see that.
say Nick Chubb at times is not on the field enough in the fourth quarter.
Yes,
at times.
that's fair.
I think it's unfair to say he's never on the field
I never
enough.
say
in the
never.
fourth
Nobody
quarter.
said never.
Well, you guys were basically saying that.
He's your horse, Bull.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to squint to see him.
Right.
And you
He
don't.
should be jumping
And you
off the
often
screen at
don't.
me when the game is in the balance.
And you often don't. Yesterday, and there have been other times where you had and
so
made a
Bull,
mistake.
I think here's what we're.
Let me say something.
Go ahead.
The game was in the balance.
Yes.
The game was in the
I know,
balance yesterday.
I'm
The
saying
game
I
was in
agree
the-
with you.
The
He should have
game
been
was
in
in
there
the
at the end.
balance, so I shouldn't
That's
have
a
to.
fair
I shouldn't have to
criticism.
look for my horse. I shouldn't have to know that. Damn, should my horse be out here or not? That's what I'm doing.
This guy's running tight end reverses, man.
I'm like, what are you doing?
That
one
shows
play.
Yeah, I saw that.
This guy's running tight end reverses,
one
It's
play.
man.
symbolic of your thinking.
If it works, everybody's saying what a great play it is.
It
my
never
God.
works. It should never be.
know,
a tight
which
end.
and Zach Jackson made this point in the press box yesterday on that play. That shows you what he thinks of Anthony Schwartz right now.
Well, it absolutely does. Because I said, wait, Schwartz can't run that play?
that was Schwartz in
He's
week
your
one.
best- and by the
Now
way,
it's David
if
Njoku.
Njoku is your best option on that play, draw up a different play.
That's it.
That's
Tight-
just
It's
trying to
one play.
outthink the room. I know, but Bull.
But
It's
come on.
symbolic.
You can't call
That's what happens. Whenever a trick play doesn't work, we all go, oh my God, I can't believe that.
Tackle-
and when it works, we're like, what a great play.
Tackle reverses never work.
That's why you never see it.
That's why you never see
How
it.
many tight end reverses have you
Nobody
ever
calls
seen in
a
your
perfect
life?
game. Kevin Stefanski's flawed like most coaches in the league. He's a pretty good, in my opinion. First of all, we don't know how, like, some people were calling him great last week, okay?
Okay.
Like, I don't know after 2 years and change that you can call any coach great. That's stupid. If you watched that, did all of you watch the Bengals Dolphins game?
I did.
They were talking about Mike McDaniel as if he's some grand genius after 3 games. By the end of the game, he was the devil because he played Tua. That's how nuts people are right now, okay? We don't know how good a coach is. The reality, we all scream and yell like lunatics, myself certainly included. And the reality is, after 2.5 years, yeah, if it's an extreme situation where a coach is really heinous, like Freddie Kitchens, you know he sucks. But for the most part, Most coaches are somewhere near the middle. Maybe they're pretty good. Maybe they're below average. You don't know for sure until you see it longer. Yeah, now we know Andy Reid's great because he's been around forever. But if they had been reactionary and fired him after a couple of years, we would have never known.
No one's saying he sucks. That's not what anybody. Nobody here has said Kevin Stefanski sucks.
But this idea that like when he has a good game, we don't worry about it, and then it's a bad game, and then we gotta take away his play calling.
That's called mediocre.
Most coaches are doing the same thing.
Yeah,
You're describing 8-8.
So
He's not 8-8. G. Is it fair to say he has not had a good quarterback in his entire time here? Is that fair to say?
He's had quarterbacks play well.
Hold on.
Because he's made them.
Great. Make this guy play well.
Look at what
He did.
That's what coaches do.
50% is overachieved big time so far.
G. Bush.
Everybody thought they'd
What
be
did
at
you
least 3.
expect?
The Chargers are 2-2. They got one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. They haven't won a playoff game. They haven't done anything.
Let me ask you one question.
Yeah.
Is the talent on this roster better than 2-2?
Not right. Not at this moment. No.
You thought they'd be 2-2 then?
I thought they'd be 3-1. But what?
The difference in 3-1 and 2-2 is.
It's minuscule.
I thought
right?
because they could be 4-0.
They could be 0-4.
They could be 1-3. They could easily be 1-3.
Should be 1-3.
America, I got to keep it real with you.
Keep it 100.
I got to keep it 100.
Please.
We all sat up here and killed Baker Mayfield. Everybody. We destroyed him. We said it didn't matter if his arm was hurt. We said he overthrow people. He wasn't good enough. We got to keep it moving because we got a clock. We said Odell Beckham Jr. didn't get no separation. He was a cancer to the locker room. We got to get rid of him during the middle of the season. I'm not about to sit up here and obfuscate none of this stuff from Kevin Stefanski. Now you wanting to tell me, well, he don't got no talent. Stop
I didn't say he had no talent. I said
He's got Jacoby Brissett as a quarterback who you were trying to put in the camp last week.
So let's say this.
Yeah.
If you know you got Jacoby Brissett.
Want to keep it 100? You were telling me Jacoby Brissett's a Hall of
Let's talk
Famer.
about this.
I need you to call a spade a spade. It's okay.
Here's the thing. If you just told me he has Jacoby Brissett as his quarterback.
He also has Nick Chubb.
Thank you. If you know the quarterback is terrible, why you dropping back 35 times?
I disagree.
I'll tell you why. It's the same number I put out every single week, and I'm tired of telling you this, but we keep having this discussion.
Have it.
You can run the ball 9 yards a carry in the last 5 years, and it guarantees you a 500 record. You have got to throw the ball if you are going to win in the NFL.
Atlanta did.
No. And you know what? That was the plus end of the 50-50. But but I'm serious.
That's not going to pan out.
I don't want to be 500.
It's a 500 record. If you can run the ball 9 yards.
So what do you want to do? You want to fire Stefanski before games?
Historically, the last 5 years, teams that average 9 yards a carry are 12-12 coming into this year. It guarantees you nothing. It works sometimes, and it doesn't work just as much as it does work.
This is what I want. I want Stefanski to give up the offensive play calling. I want you just to be the CEO. That's all I want you to be. I want Barry to go ahead and fill this middle here with Ndamukong Suh. Go and get that. And then I told you on the other side, they were going to double. I told you last week they're going to double Cooper here. He wasn't going to get another 100 yards. And then you got two nondescript dudes on the other side that pose no threat, and they didn't care about it.
And yesterday, we asked earlier, okay, so Cooper's not going to always have 10 catches. Who picks up the slack when he doesn't? And the answer is exactly what we thought the answer was going to be.
I thought Donovan Peoples-Jones had a decent game.
He caught 2 balls, I think.
He had a great catch. He's out of bounds. The one down the sideline.
He had like 5
other than
catches
that,
for
Mrs.
80
Lincoln,
yards.
how did you like the play?
I mean, Njoku had a couple big plays. Njoku's been better than I thought he was. Full credit to him.
I think Njoku had 5 catches.
And we just got done saying a week or two ago the Travis Kelce combo works. Formula works.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, 5 catches, 71 yards. I mean, that's a pretty good game.
The interior of the defensive line is awful. Right, it is awful.
Yeah, we know.
And then I will just say the backers are leaving a lot to be desired too, because
by the way,
they're not plugging the holes up front.
Listen, I seen the all 22. I've never seen worse run fits, gap alignment. These guys, it act like they had never understood that one person has a gap.
And why didn't they fix that in the process? Because you knew what the Falcons were going to do. They're like on those 2 drives that were 70+ yards, 17 plays. Almost all of them runs, and much of them look exactly the same, and we just weren't doing anything different.
And one other name we haven't mentioned, Anthony Walker is a huge loss to this defense.
Exactly
what you're talking about.
JOK's been terrible. He's lost out there.
I don't think he was terrible.
Not terrible. He's had moments. But there were times yesterday in run defense where I'm like, where is
So
he?
you know what? This was
you
the
don't
first.
know where the ball's going.
This was the first game
Tyvis
without Walker. This was the first game without Walker. Let's see if Jacob Phillips and some of these other guys can clean some of this up.
Jacob Phillips was awful.
He did not have a good game.
He was awful.
But this goes back to roster building. when you have athletic
Okay, Tim on.
middle linebackers, you got to have D tackles that keep them off of them.
Right. It's true they don't have
JOK
that.
needs to run this way and this way and
Right.
tackle people.
'Cause
When he gets
once it-
guards on that next level,
once he gets engaged, he's
it's
done.
done.
He's
And
done.
again, I will
He's
tell
done.
Jordan Elliott has been much better than I thought he would be.
They need one more.
If you
But they
get
got nobody else in there.
okay, but if you have Miles and Jadavian
Right.
and Jordan Elliott,
Right.
So let me ask you a question.
That's not bad.
Is Jordan Elliott better than Ndamukong Suh?
well, there's 31 other teams out there who have
Nobody
passed
wants
on
Ndamukong
well,
Suh.
we
too.
probably want some money.
and he ain't cutting nobody that he
wants some money.
drafted.
I don't listen. At this point, I don't know if Ndamukong Suh can help or not. Maybe he can.
I'm sorry, on Anthony Schwartz, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
It's time to move on. He's
Well,
a warm body at this
if you're
point.
if you're running a tight end reverse over Anthony
That's
Schwartz,
crazy.
Yeah.
what's
because
he
that's
doing
his
on
value.
what's he doing on the
if
roster?
he can't return
But-
kicks and punts, and he
but
can't
hold
even
on.
do
and you
jet
can't
sweeps,
hand it to
The
him.
problem
then
is,
move on.
I said that before we went to the regular season. He
Listen,
was done.
I had said,
he's
too,
done.
if he was
Move
wearing a different
on.
jersey and wasn't a draft pick, he'd be
Nuggets, you
gone.
doing field goal dances. What's up?
Yeah, no, I got to hop in here. I thought Jordan Elliott played really well yesterday, and it was a different Jordan Elliott we saw against the Falcons than we
Must have
saw
been
in the
those
first
built
3
bars,
weeks.
Mike.
What do you say?
Must have been those built bars.
Exactly where I'm going. It definitely is a lot stronger because he's been bulking up on the built
Way to
bars.
bury the lead.
He tried the coconut flavor, the same one Jay tried on Thursday's show. It's
great.
He texted me and said personally, best thing he ever had in his whole life.
No kidding.
Maybe. There's an asterisk next to
Yeah, that may or may not be true, right?
May or may not be true, but he said it was delicious. He, despite making an NFL contract, still used
Can we
the
get some of those
amazing
to
promo
Stefanski?
code LOCKEDON15. He got 15% off. A guy who doesn't need built bars, Tim Couch. Big enough by himself.
Oh,
Tim
yes.
was